Okay, so welcome everyone. I think I'm a bit of a ball job and I forgot to turn the volume on completely. My voice and the party sound in this.
Oh. So we had no voices.
For past 5 minutes, yep.
Oh great, that's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to Cowley who just realized that. I didn't actually realize. Because I have my phone muted, so there's no back audio. But yeah,
my laptop muted for the same reason.
Yep, but basically what we were talking about just when there was no sound from us, we were talking about potential one-stop strategy of soft to medium, but that would be too big of a stretch. Then what else were we talking about?
God, I can't remember. It was mainly just to do with race strategy, and then there was just drivers' laps so far. What they've done. Ash making a mistake in the final corner, almost losing it. Cliffy ending up in the wall at the start of the session. And so far, just half a second separating the top 8. Only the only person that I don't think has put in a properly competitive lap time.
But in the meantime, Ash pulls into the pit, so 49 hundredths of a second splits the front row. So we could see it's gonna be. For some reason, I think Akao has something to say to both Adams and Ash.
I do agree, because that first lap he put in was strong. It was provisional pole on the first, well, only person who on their first lap set a really quick lap in the 18.5s, apart from Odins, I believe. So we'll see what he can do on his second run as a Sauber just flies into the pit lane. Toro also flies into the pit lane at 1,000 miles an hour. That was Zarlin.
Yeah, I was just gonna correct you that it was a Toro Rosso, not a Sauber.
Yeah, it was Zarlin just flying into the pit lane at 1,000 miles an hour.
More like 10 million. Compared to Adams, like the pace difference between Adams and Zarlin in the pits, like Jesus. Take a chill pill, like.
Reminds me of F2 last season with Chill Drive going through the pit lane at full speed during the race. He's just flying through the pit lane at like 100 miles an hour.
Okay, so there we go. Someone been a bit stupid in the race and getting himself a stop-go penalty. Nice.
He didn't get a penalty in the race. It was just because he was desynced. So his AI was going around at some stupid speed.
Oh, okay, that makes a bit more sense then.
So it's the game's fault, not his.
Okay, I was gonna say, but while we're talking some gibberish stuff, we have just under 4 minutes of the qualifying left, and I think I can see Mercedes and the Red Bull garages having some live action. And yep, Adams
and Odins.
Yep, Aka and Adams going out the pits, and I think I saw a Toro
Rosso. And the
Rosso
two coming out as well.
Okay, so it was a Toro Rosso and not a Toro. It was the Renault, not a Toro Rosso. Can I get the cars correctly, please?
So that Mercedes and Cadillac race are the other two that will come out of the pits, both in the Renaults. They're leading the way on this second run. Louis, the only person that didn't go out of the pits on that first run. So he's got one chance to put in a perfect lap to get pole.
In the meantime, there we go, the two Toro Rossos are now out the pits.
Nikita and Zarlin.
See how fun that would be if I accidentally called Toro Rossos the Renaults.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, I called Zarlin's Toro Rosso a Sauber. So.
Yeah. So we both have a bit of fails to do, but there we go. Louis is out the pits. Louis is coming out the pits.
So only giving himself time for one run. I see him do this quite often though. I do see him stay in the pit lane for the first runs and then just come out for one chance of a lap at the end. Basically like a one-shot qualifying section.
What a surprise! Oh, I was just gonna say, and mention that Ash has not yet came out of the pits, and as I switch onto him, there he is out onto track.
So he wants to be the last person to put in a flying lap by the looks of it. Oh no, Ollie looks like he's going to beat him to that because Ollie's just exited the pit lane.
And Ollie's going to let some traffic pass as Skalik is now into long right-hander in sector 1. 22 flat in sector 1. Question is he improving from his previous lap? It was actually 21.8, so 2/10 faster than his previous best.
Currently faster than Odom's provisional pole time as well through sector 1 by 7/100ths of a second. Atkal's put in a 21.9 sector 1. So Kalik's on for a quick lap here. We'll see what his middle sector looks like.
Yellow flags, and that looked like it was Louis who was going slow.
Possibly letting another driver through. He's going to have to let, yeah, he's just let Ash Best through, and Kalik who's going to follow it.
Kalik being a bit shaky on that back end, so definitely pushing his car to the limit to try and fight for that pole position today. But through the final corner, he will go, opening the DRS, and it's an 18.2, so provisional pole position.
Then beaten immediately by his teammate.
But here we go, Adams is into penultimate chicane and into the final corner. So can Adams deny them?
Looking at the way he took that final chicane, he abandoned his first lap and was going for a second run, so he must have invalidated it somewhere.
Mainly looked like he made a mistake on his lap, in fact.
Lakitu.
Actually, you're right. He got invalid lap time by exceeding track limits.
And as we were talking about that, Lakitu then put his car in provisional pole position. Only person to get into the 117s at the moment. 117.991 from Lakitu. We know he's very quick on the qualifying pace. And that just proves it. First person into the 17s.
Sorry to interrupt you, but don't forget about Ash Best, who's now into sector 3. And he's improving by good 2/10 on his time. So can he find even more time in sector 3? If he does, then he could be on provisional pole position. Because don't forget, we still have Adams to put in his fast lap. But Ash, what can he do? Opens DRS and 17.6! What a lap!
That is a fantastic lap from Ash Best to put himself 3/10 faster than Lakitu. One of the guys we know is very quick.
17.6! Oh! What?
Louis puts in a 17.6. Another fantastic lap, and Odoms is just about to cross the line now to finish his run.
I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he'll do it.
17.8 puts himself third.
But what a lap! The rivalry between Ash and Louis continues. Oh my
So
goodness!
close for pole position between the pair of them. I think it was what? Yeah, 16 thousandths of a second for pole position there. The gap between Louis and Ash. That was unbelievable.
The rivalry between the two drivers continue as it's going to be Louis and Mercedes, Ash and a Zauber this time though. They'll lock out the front row. T.S. Adams in the Red Bull, leading the Constructors' Championship, will be starting in third place. Lakitu going to be lining up alongside him in fourth. Alkan Bzalan on the further of the grid. Kalik and ZR Mercedes 7th and 8th, with Strike Gamer and Olaf Lavel rounding up the top 10, and Cliffy, due to an unfortunate DNF in quali, is going to start on outside the top 10, and will have a free tyre choice as well, so might come in handy for him.
Yeah, Cliffy could really come into this later on in the race, depending on what tyre he chooses to start on. If he can get those hards over and out of the way early on, he could really be a problem at the end of the race and a threat to the end of the race for all those hard tyre runners at the end. We'll see what tyre he starts on, but he's got the option to mix things up a bit.
Absolutely. But what a qualifying that was between Ash and Louis. Oh god, that is going to be so fun to watch out for them down in towards turn 1, and Adams will be there as well. So, anything could happen down in towards turn 1. Anything could happen.
Yeah, it's a long run down, so there's a lot of slipstreaming going on between the drivers. Very long pit straight. I mean, not a heavy braking zone into turn 1, but the cars will be right bunched up coming into turn 1.
As we're on a formation lap, and that was brilliant camera off the pit lane.
He always does that.
No, I can't even change cameras now. Nice.
Oh, right, I can. Even though I'm looking at a fence when I try and spectate Odoms. Oh, there we go. It's changed.
Oh, there we go. I can change cameras as well.
Let's have a look at what tyres Cliffy's starting the race on. Cliffy is indeed starting the race on the hard tyres, so he is really going to be a threat at the end of the race on the faster soft compound. He is driving on a pad today as opposed to his normal wheel setup.
But the question is, can he keep it clean through lap 1? As we know, there might be crashes down in sector 1, and especially in turn 1, as it's, I would call it a pretty narrow corner for such a track.
I'd hope so. If Cliffy's got a lot of sense, he should know to just keep his own pace on the hard tyres. He knows he's going to be slower than all the drivers on the softs in front. So if he keeps his nose clean, he's in with a shot of a very good result here.
Yep, as cars warming up their tyres and brakes, getting ready for the famous Spanish Grand Prix where
Interestingly, Louis and Odoms have made contact on the formation lap, which means that they've lost some valuable tyre warm-up time that Ash is getting.
So Ash is technically going to be first on the formation lap.
Yep. There's only, what, 6 drivers actually driving around on the formation lap.
But to back to what I was saying, famous Spanish Grand Prix where we see Pastor Maldonado taking a win in 2012 in the Williams.
Yes, one of those infamous races for Spain. Spain's always been one of those tracks where you can get some of those exciting results. You had that infamous Michael Schumacher race in 1996. I think that was in 2000, or 2001, Mika Hakkinen retiring on the last lap of the race.
Yep, I think it was 2001 indeed, and that's a brilliant camera just staring at a brick wall. But fiber lights on the gantry for the Spanish Grand Prix, lights out, and the cars start their way into our turn 1 as Louis will be defending the inside line from Ash Bass. Tias Odoms is going to remain in front. Toro Rosso will go up his inside. And Odoms running the outside and taking the lead of the race in turn 1. And oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me!
Ash and Louis all in the wall at turn 3.
And a cow! And the cow involved as well. We just said that synchronized. So a massive crash in turn 1 will set Ash, Aka and Louis all the way down back of the pack and into the pits they will go as Ash has left the session.
Probably just out of frustration of losing his front wing after turn 1.
But in the meantime there's battle for P6 as Ole Flavel and Striker Gamer are battling now on track. Ole did have a look on a switchback but lost the back end for turn 7. And now...
Oh, he's looking for it.
Yep, but now Cliffy is going to be catching up to him. So Cliffy is going to try and get the advantage of those hard tyres. He will have the tyre disadvantage at this point of the race, especially at the start, as Striker Gamer goes wide, as I was saying that. But back to what I was saying, he will have the tyre disadvantage due to slower tyre, but he will make it into an advantage when softs will fade out.
Yeah, he just needs to keep it to himself, really. He doesn't want to try any daring moves at the inside of these soft tyre runners, because they're just going to have more grip and hold it around the outside or the inside or whatever, and then come back at him a few corners later. But Cliffy with a mistake.
Cliffy makes a mistake and spins himself round in turn 2.
Not sure whether that was the commentator's curse right there on Cliffy. as I was talking about him, he then makes a mistake. It always seems to happen to me.
Don't know, but we have the battle for the lead. Red Bull against the Toro, so Odoms against Akiu. And it looks to be spicing up as we're in towards turn 8. Odoms seems to be going wide at the exit of the fast right-hander. So possibly Odoms just has a bit too much fuel in his car compared to Akiu. Let's actually check on that to get some confirmation. That's not what I wanted to check. So yeah.
Odoms is running more fuel, yes.
And Lakir is burning fuel. So Odoms probably putting a bit more stack on the second stint rather than the first stint.
Quite possibly, he wants to be fast on those slower tyres. That's what I would have thought.
But he is using
If you're
rich
trying to-
revs.
If you are trying to fuel save on the hard tyres, you're going to lose a lot more time. But I think he's only running rich really down the straights in the fast sections. We'll see though.
Yep, that's why I seem to look as well, and I was gonna mention that. But like he is just over 2 tenths behind the Red Bull driver. So this battle will be really the one to watch at the opening stages, as we have battle for P3 spicing up as well. Mercedes against Bsalan, so another Toro Rosso involved. So a double podium so far for Toro Rosso looks absolutely great for them.
Lakitu's going to have DRS on Odoms here. I just thought coming out of turn 9.
Odoms once
And a
again
bad
going
exit in the corner
wide.
for Odoms as well.
And like
Lakitu had a
you
look.
fakes up the inside. He fakes it but stays behind.
Maybe he's going to want to try and get him down the longer DRS straight, down the pit straight. Sit
Most
behind him.
likely. Most likely that is the truth.
Odom's getting a far better section there though than Lakitu. I think Lakitu had the dirty air causing him some real problems through that final sector. So we'll see how much he can catch up with the DRS wide open on his Toro Rosso. He's not catching up by as much as I thought he would. So Odom's clearly running some low wings in that car.
And in the meanwhile, Ole Flavel is going for a move on the main straight with DRS and rich revs off Striker Gamer. So Ole Flavel promotes himself into P6.
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty straightforward move with the DRS wide open. It was like being back in F1 2015 again. As soon as that DRS flap gets open, you are guaranteed to overtake the person in front of you.
So really we have two battles with in less than half a second between each other. Battle for first and battle for sixth, so two battles to watch out for. As Lakitu has a much better run than Odoms. Odoms will be covering the inside line. Lakitu moves to the outside under braking, looks to have a switch back, but Odoms will just keep his nose in.
Yeah, it was smart defending from Odoms to try and get the outside line covered, but he did go a little bit deep in the corner, which allowed Lakitu the chance to try and come back at him. We'll see what they can do down the pit straight as well. Oh, Odom's very wide out of the final chicane, and that's given Lakitu the chance to breeze past him and into the lead of the race, and he'll have DRS to streak away. Mistake from Odoms has cost him there.
And yep, Lakitu is now going to be pulling away.
He will be fuming inside that cockpit while Odoms. I know what he's like. Any mistake, he really doesn't like himself for it.
But you know something, I don't think Odoms is going to give up easily. Odoms is really putting the pressure on Lakitu as well, so despite the mistake, it looks like that Odoms is not gonna be staying behind and he wants to have that lead back to him.
Yeah, Odoms will not give up that lead easily. He will try and fight Lakitu as hard as he can for it. He will not give it up easy. Luis just put in the fastest lap of the race on the medium tyres with a 121.5. Oh, almost another mistake from Odoms as I was saying that.
So it looks like that maybe Odoms' tires are going off already compared to Lakitu's and cars behind him. So could Odoms be in a bad situation here?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's just his tyres going off or whether he's just pushing too hard, that he's making mistakes that are uncharacteristic of him. Which I reckon is probably what might have happened there.
The mistake probably just going to his head, and he just needs to take a bit cautious for next lap or so and just try and calm himself down, and then have that really hard push for Lakitu.
Probably. I think he might try and see if he can undercut the Toro Rosso driver as well. Because we know how good the undercut is on this game. You can have one lap on fresh tyres, even if it's 2 compounds harder, it can still serve you in a good way to get in front of the driver that's holding you up in front.
Especially in clean air as well.
Yeah, especially if you can get yourself in clear air with no cars around you. As Arlen seems to be making a couple of mistakes, running very wide at turn 5, and that's allowing the hungry Renault cars behind him to have a look. ZR Mercedes only half a second behind, and Calic Rist only half a second behind Mercedes.
And Striker Gamer is right behind Ollie. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's alright.
But here we go, Striker Gamer.
Back.
Striker Gamer out the inside of turn 9 of Ollie Flavel, but Ollie keeps it ahead, and Striker Gamer seems to have those. And once again on the inside. This is beautiful battle as Ollie makes a mistake. Ollie makes a mistake. Contact made between the two drivers and Ollie's in the wall.
Looked like he just put it in the wall himself after the contact. He wasn't trying to counter steer. Thought that was just the spectator camera messing up, but it looked like he was just turning left straight into the wall as he now leaves the session as well. So there's only 9 drivers left running in this race. Ash Best leaving after a turn 1 incident.
And you know something? That promotes Cliff into P7. So Cliff is slowly but gradually building himself up the order.
It does, and of course the drivers behind him, Louis and Atcal, will both need to pit again because there's no way they're stretching their tyres out to the end. Louis, of course, on medium, so he will have to make another pit stop, and Atcal on the hards. No chance of them doing 32 laps. So Cliffy currently net P7 at the moment, and if he can keep his head down and not make too many mistakes, he could be in a chance for some good points, maybe even a top 5 if the guys in front keep battling. And ZR Mercedes is on the back of Zalen for position 3.
Yep, Zalen didn't make a mistake going round turn 4, just losing the back end a tiny bit, but saved it and let ZR Mercedes catch up to him.
Oh, Zalen getting a bit sideways out of the chicane. Probably going to help Mercedes get a good run out of the final corner to catch him under DRS. Triple slipstream going on there, positions 3, 4 and 5.
Well, I think Alex has had absolute beauty to have. If he would have just been a bit closer, Calic, he would have got 2 positions possibly going down in towards turn 1 as he had double slipstream and DRS.
Yeah, that could have been really helpful if he'd have got a good enough run. I don't know whether he was running Rich down that straight or not, I didn't see, but Mercedes is now side by side with Zalen as they're coming into turn 5. Zalen's going to have the inside, they wheel bang a little bit, but is Mercedes going to hold it around the outside? Zalen gets good traction on the exit. Mercedes going a little bit sideways and Zalen holds on to P3, well defended. A good wheel-to-wheel battling between the two of them as well. Zalen again with another mistake. And this time, Mercedes capitalises, Zalen making a mistake out of turn 6 and 7.
Zalen isn't using his DRS.
I don't know whether he got it. I don't know where the detection point is for that corner. As Calic Wrist has spun coming out of turn 10.
Oh. Possibly some contact or just a personal mistake there.
I don't know. It didn't look like there was any contact from my view of it. I think he just got caught too much curb and it just lit up the rear tyres once he gained traction.
And Zalen, Jesus. His back end is definitely going, so he's definitely pushing those soft tyres an absolute tree as he starts to lose the car quite a bit now.
He has done for the last few laps. He's been making a few little mistakes where the back end's been kicking out on him, just a bit too aggressive on the throttle. Again there as well, the back end stepping out on him on the exit of turn 2. Really is fighting with the car at the moment.
And in the meantime, I was looking at the gap between Lakira and Adams, and as I was saying that, Zalen once again just saving the car by being an alien basically. But back to Adams and Lakitu. Adams was 1.5 behind at the start of the last lap, and now it's less than 8/10. So as I was saying, Adams got a bit of a chill and now is pushing it. So he's definitely pushing that Toro Rosso in front of him.
Quite possibly a mistake from Lakitu as well. He has a habit of that. As quick as he is, he does make a lot of mistakes during races, which can cost him, whether it be just a little bit too aggressive through a corner or anything like that. Cliffy picks up a penalty for corner cutting. Adams again running wide though at the final chicane. That's really going to hamper him down this straight. Yeah, lost him 4 tenths. Just that exit to the chicane lost him 4 tenths of a second.
And Zalen pulls into the pits. So tires for Zalen definitely not working out now. Hence why he had so much back end loss.
I think he's going for the undercut because I think the one-stoppers should be pitting on about lap 10. So that'll be the end of this lap that they've just started. So I think Zalen might just be trying to go for the undercut. as he has fitted the hard
Hard.
tyres. Kalek Rist is coming in as well and doing the same thing by the looks of it.
Yep.
Yeah, Kalek Rist also fitting the hard tyres. So we'll see if he can maybe jump ZR Mercedes. Depends on how good of a lap ZR Mercedes has here before he pits.
And Zalan actually rejoins ahead of Cliffy.
Oh, that's crucial, that. Means he doesn't have the dirty air of a car in front. Zalan's got 10 seconds of clear air in front of him. He's just got to try and make sure that Cliffy doesn't make an attack on him. I'm going to keep an eye on ZR Mercedes and see where he rejoins after his pit stop, which I assume will be the end of this lap.
So the question now is, when will Lakitu and Totems pit? If they pit this lap, surely they will be going for hard to the end of the race, as Odoms makes another mistake and they both pit. They're both pitting. But
Odom's lucky
Odoms
not to get damaged there as he tapped the wall on the pit entry.
Yep,
Mercedes staying out, interestingly.
maybe he has pretty good tire wear so far. And Striker Gamer receives 5-second stop go penalty at his round at the chicane.
An interesting place to lose the car. Don't know what happened there, whether he made a big mistake in catching too much curb through the 90-degree right before the chicane, or what, but he was facing the wrong way when I was spectating him.
So Lakitu and Odoms will be rejoining in potential 1-2 still, but Mercedes is yet to pit, so that's why I didn't count him really.
Lakitu had a great pit stop. He managed to pull out a second to Odoms, probably just due to his pit entry. Odoms making that big mistake on pit entry. The gap was 1.0 coming into the pits, it's now 2.0.
And also Odoms ran a bit wide coming out of the chicane.
Yeah, it's not helping. Odom's making mistakes. Every little mistake will cost you if you keep making them.
So pits around here is what, 22-23 seconds I would say?
Probably about that, yeah. I'm not too sure exactly on the pit stop delta, but it's somewhere around that region.
So if Mercedes pits this lap, he should be joining about 4th or 5th place.
I reckon he'll be in somewhere with that battle between Zalan and Cliffy somewhere.
But now, there we go, he pulls into the pits. So we'll find out now.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on Zalan as well to see where he is on track. He's just coming through the long right-hander in the final sector, so he's still 4 corners behind.
So I'll keep my eye on Zalan and Cliffy to see if Mercedes is capable of getting in between the two drivers.
Zalan coming out the final corner now. This is going to be close, I reckon. I reckon Zalan might... Oh, this will be close. Mercedes just getting up to speed coming out of the pits. Mercedes should be alright. Yeah,
he
Mercedes
has a bit of
holds
a
on to
gap as well. So he has a bit of a gap to Zalan, so it's not even 20 to 24 seconds. It looks to be about 18-20.
Yeah, I got a 2-second gap to Zalan, which was more than I was expecting. With Zalan pitting 2 laps earlier and Mercedes being on very old softs.
And the gap was about 23 seconds as well, if you remember.
It was, yeah. It's interesting, that. Yeah, at the moment, there's no real gaps between any cars. The closest gap is between Cliffy and Kalek for P5, which is 1.5 seconds. Cliffy, of course, yet to pit, though. So I'm sure if he makes a pit stop, he will rejoin in 7th behind Louis. But he won't need to pit until somewhere around about that 23.
So pit stop deltas are on your screens just now. Everyone has made at least one stop except Cliffy, as you were saying, Johnny.
Yeah, Cliffy, of course, started on the hard tyres, so he's got a long period to go in that race on that first stint. He's made a few mistakes. I've seen him half spinning a couple of times, but he is on a pad. He's normally on a wheel, so that's probably what's caused those uncharacteristic mistakes from Cliffy. But he's doing well holding on to P5. He's got to make his tyres last now, about another 10 laps, and then he can fit the soft tyres and fly at the end of the race.
And looking from position changes, Mercedes gained 5 and Cliffy gained 6 positions from the start.
I mean, Cliffy's one's probably mainly due to him not pitting. But I reckon even if he did pit, he'd still have gained 4 places from his starting position.
And then a triple crash at turn 1, remember, as well?
Yes, of course, yeah. There was Ash Best, Cal and Louis all getting involved in that turn 1 incident.
But it looks like the Calic is now closing in to Cliffy. So Cliff is definitely on the older tire, so Calic is able to push his tires a bit more than Cliffy can afford.
Yeah, it looks that way. Cliffy seems to be struggling a little bit with grip just in general on those hard tyres. They are now, this is now their 13th lap, just about to start his 14th lap on these tyres. Nikita has just gone fastest.
By 1500 of a second from Louis on mediums, so yeah, there we go.
Proves how much of a difference 10 laps in the race makes. It's hard to be faster than the mediums 10 laps later. Calic's right on the back. He's closed in 2 seconds on Cliffy in this lap, so Calic really charging. And Cliffy probably tyre and fuel saving. Yeah, he's already under a lap of fuel left, so he's probably going to be wanting to fuel save for the rest of this race. Calic has 2 laps of fuel still remaining in his car. So I think it's only a matter of time before Calic tries a move on Cliffy, as Cliffy's going very slowly in front of him, trying to tyre and fuel save. He will have DRS coming out of turn 9.
He will have the DRS, but do you think it will really benefit him despite being 6 tenths behind him? Now 5 now, but obviously DRS dragged him and got him to close in by a 10th.
Yeah, it's gonna. The only thing I can think is it's gonna. The downside of it is it will give him some more dirty air coming through this twisty section in the final sector they're coming into now, as Odoms has just put in another fastest lap, just beating the previous best.
Yep.
I think 3 drivers now that put in 121.5s.
And Cliffy goes defensive, but Calic has DRS, and he had a better run, so it's going to be no issue for Calic to get past him, unless Cliffy can go up the inside. Nope, Cliffy stays behind. But he tries around the outside.
Yeah, Cliffy, I think Calic ran a little bit wide out of turn 2, which allowed Cliffy a little gap to maybe try and look at it, and I think he's just made contact with Calic Riss's left rear there.
Yep, there was a bit of tyre banging between the 2 drivers.
Thankfully it didn't cost either of them. Cliffy just had to back out of the move and turn in again. So Calic Riss moves up into P5. Good position for him to be in. Of course, the current F2 champion from last season. Overtaking the runner-up from season 1 in Cliffy.
Cliffy just seemed to be a bit shaky on the back end for turn 9.
Yeah, it does look like he's having a bit of difficulty just getting to grips with the pad and the tyres. Lakitu's now popped into 21.4, so these guys in front are slowly getting faster and faster every single lap. Trading fastest laps between them is what they've done so far. Is Cliffy going to get a decent run coming down the pit straight?
Cliffy with DRS.
Doesn't look like he's got a good enough toe to try a move on Calic Riss. No, he hasn't, and stays behind him. Shane, is the only thing really going out on track at the moment.
Yep, that's the only battle we have.
Yeah, the next gap, nearest gap is 2 seconds, which is Louis, who is behind Cliffy. And Striker Gamer picks up another penalty.
And talking about penalties, I've actually checked the penalties for this race. The only 2 penalties we have is Striker Gamer, who got his like 10 seconds ago, and Cliffy, who got earlier in the race.
Oh yes, of course, yeah, I did see that pop up, but I must have forgotten to mention it. Could that cost Cliffy towards the end of the race? It might cost him a position. Of course, Louis behind him, and Louis is going to be most likely on the medium tyres at the end. Cliffy will be on the softs, but we know that Louis is very quick. And Cliffy's been struggling as that just proved. He just went sideways out of the final chicane. Lost him 4 tenths and the DRS on Calic Riss. So he's now out of DRS range, and Louis is very close to DRS range of Cliffy now.
And as you were saying all that, Adams just went fastest overall on track as well. at 21.411 is now the fast lap of the race.
Yeah, Lakitu and Odom's trading the fastest lap between them, albeit bit by bit. I think they've been improving by about half a tenth each time. At the moment, those two seem to be head and shoulders above the rest. With Mercedes a further 7 seconds behind Odom's at the moment.
So Cliffy is starting to get on quite a bit of pressure on himself as he's starting to make slight mistakes.
Oh, there's another one.
So 2 mistakes within
This gives
2
Louis a
corners.
big opportunity coming out of turn 9. DRS wide open for Louis. Didn't get a good exit though. So I think Cliffy will hold on to P6 for now. Yes, he does. Defends the inside line.
And
Louis got another chance coming down on the run to turn 1.
And while Adams just 21.343, so Adams is not wanting to babysit there in P2. He wants that win, as Louis now is spilling into the pits. So I was gonna say Louis is yet to pit, and it's most likely going to be medium tires. Looking at the laps.
Yep,
And yep.
the Mercedes garage have fitted medium tyres onto that car. He's going to have to take those to the end. That's 16 laps on those tyres. He did 17 on the set. He's just 16 on the set. He's just won, and he's going to do 16 on this one as well.
He is most
you
like
said Odom's is not sitting back. He's closed in another 3 tenths on Lakitu on this lap.
exactly.
He's
I
just
was
picking
saying
out
that.
bits and bits of his gap. Less than 2 seconds now. The gap. It was 2.3 at the start of the lap. It's now 1.8 in the braking zone into turn 10. So Odom's is really putting some pressure on Lakitu here.
And remember, I did mention that Adams is not messing about.
He did indeed. He's just keeping up his pace though, maintaining his strong pace. We'll see what lap time he puts in here as well. He's put in 2 consecutive fastest laps of the race. Will he put in another one? Not quite. Only that was a 21.4 though, which is still faster than what Lakitu's been doing. If I have a look at Lakitu's lap times, Lakitu's last lap was a 1:21.9, so half a second faster there on that lap from Odom's. Sorry about that.
Somebody just throw in the chat that Adams is non-hard, but he's on super softs.
Oh, Cliffy's pitted very early for a set of mediums, and he's rejoined behind the Striker Gamer.
So maybe
Very
he's-
early pit stop onto the medium tyres for Cliffy, so he's been struggling with his tyre wear, clearly.
Yeah, definitely. But now he has quite a bit of job to do to himself.
Yeah, he has made things a little bit tricky for himself coming out behind Striker Gamer now, so he's got at least him to get past, and then he's got to try and catch up to Louis. And that's even just to get a shot at P7. He's got to overtake Striker Gamer, a shot at P6. Lakitu's just put in the fastest lap of the race, so Lakitu responds to Odom's quick lap last lap with a quick one of his own, which is currently the fastest lap of the race. 1:21.309, I think it was.
Cliffy having a
3:20.
look. Cliffy did have a look on Striker Gamer, but holds behind.
Oh, Striker Gamer running wide though through the sweeping right-hander, and Cliffy will swoop past into 7th place.
Yep, Cliffy
Didn't
gets the
stay behind
position.
him for long.
Took him just under lap actually, so definitely showing how bad the hards are going now for that McLaren driver.
Well, it just shows how much faster fresh mediums are than the current hards that Striker Gamer's got on, which he's been on since about lap 9, I think. So 11 laps on those hard tyres, and Cliffy of course on fresh mediums, just no match for him. Louis as well has just put in the fastest lap of the race on his fresh mediums of a 1:20.5. So first driver to break into the 1 minute 20s. As again, there's no real gaps forming between the cars. Cliffy's pulling away from Striker Gamer, who seems to be going a little bit slow on his hard tyres, as he has a big lock up into turn 10. So the next biggest gap is between the two leaders of Lakitu and Odoms, 1.8 seconds between the two of them. They've been trading fastest lap while they were early on in the hard stint, but now that Louis and Cliffy are on the mediums, their fastest lap trading will not continue. Odoms just put in his personal best lap of the race on that last lap with a 1:21.2. Lakitu putting in a 1:21.4. So Cliffy I think Odoms needs to maintain that consistency if he wants to try and get a move done on Lakitu, because his last few laps have all been within a couple of tenths of each other. .7 seconds is the gap. Odoms just needs to keep this up, and he could be within DRS within a few laps' time. As there is discussions about GTA strip clubs going on in the chat. Nice one, guys. That's 100% where Kiwis was today. That's yesterday. Sorry, that's why he didn't race in F2. 1.4 seconds the gap now. Again, Odoms 21.2. Cliffy picks up his second penalty of the race. Where's he picked that up at? Again, turns 6 and 7. So Odoms really flying now. Consistent lap times. Look at these last lap times he's had. He's had a 21.4, 21.3, 21.4, 21.4, 21.2 and a 21.2. And has just put in his fastest first sector of the race on that lap as well. So this could be even faster from Odoms. Lakitu has been hit and miss with a few of his laps. His last two have been at least 2 to 3 tenths slower. So Odoms driving well at the moment. Putting pressure on. Could be within that DRS buffer in a couple of laps' time if he keeps this up. Crucially though, Odom's now having to save fuel, so he has been pushing maybe a little bit too far, but Lakitu as well needing to save fuel. Both of them very tight on fuel. Odom's 0.1 of a lap over, Lakitu 0.3 of a lap over, so they're both going to have to be struggling with fuel at the end of the race. They're going to be fuel saving for the next 11 laps, which is how many laps we've got left. Odom's has just put in a 21.1, and Lakitu puts in a 21.5, so Odom's is really catching fast. Gap is now within a second as well, so Odom's has broken that DRS window. Be interested to see how much longer he stays behind him for. He needs to try and get past him. I know he wants to try and get past him because of course a mistake was what cost him the lead at the start of the race. And he won't be happy with himself and he'll want to try and correct that. But Lakitu will just want to maintain consistency if he wants to take his first race win of the season. Lakitu looks like he's had a decent lap though. Maintained the gap to about a second. Is Odom going to be within that 1 second window? It looks like it was exactly a second at the detection zone. No, he does not have DRS coming down the pit straight. So Lakitu just held the gap to above a second. And again a 21.2 from Odoms, but Lakitu put in his personal best lap of the race with a 21.2 as well. Strike again with yet another penalty. I believe that is his 4th of the race. He's struggling out there on those hard tyres, down in 8th place. Could be putting the pressure from Atcal in a few laps time as well, who of course pitted on that one after being held up in that first corner incident between himself, Ash Best and who else was it? It was himself, Ash and Louis, who of course is in P6 at the moment, and as I say that, Atcal pits for what will be soft tyres to take him to the end of the race. He'll be looking to try and get fastest lap at least. Could maybe put some pressure on Striker Gamer at the end of the race. See if he can keep up the good pace. Odoms is now within that DRS buffer as well, as they're coming into the final sector. Wants to get a good exit out of this chicane to guarantee himself DRS down the home straight. I think that's exactly what he's done. Yeah, Odoms has DRS now. Another 21.1 as well from TS Odoms. Really consistent lap times being put in from Odoms. Gap's now 0.6 of a second. But that DRS really helped Odoms close in by 0.3 down the pit straight. I reckon it's only a matter of time with the way that Odoms is going in this race that he will be side by side with Lakitu, and then these two can have a proper elbows out battle for the lead of the race, which is exactly what I want to see. I'm pretty sure that's what everybody else watching the stream wants to see. There's a nice solid battle for the lead of the race between Lakitu and Odoms. Of course, the winner of the first two races, Michelangelo, is not here. And it looks like it's up to these two guys to become the next new winner for ERL Season 4. Children saying he wants to see a crash. Well, I'm probably spectating the wrong people at the moment. There was a nice big one at the start of the race if you want to go back and watch that one again. Again, half a second the gap, so Lakitu, even though Odoms had DRS on him, has maintained the gap to the same as it was at this point last lap, just under 0.6 of a second. So Lakitu must have had a decent lap that last lap. Yeah, 21.399. Odoms has put in a 21.231.
I'm back. Sorry for that. I had a real important phone call to answer.
That's fine. I deputised for you as best I could, mate.
Good enough I had my camera on Odoms the entire time, as Arcao says a 20.1, so something definitely happened to Arcao that I definitely missed.
Yeah, well, because he pitted on lap 1, of course, he had to pit again because he fitted the hard tyres on lap, lap 1.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's why Arcao's now on the soft tyres. Odoms is now within 0.4 of a second of Lakitu. With only 7 laps to go, this could be a battle right to the death of the race, right to the end.
Definitely, definitely.
Striker Gamer right on the back of Cliffy as well, interestingly. So Cliffy must have made a couple of mistakes here and there, because he was pulling away initially. But Striker Gamer is back on the back of him now for P7. Yeah, we'll have DRS coming out of the final straight.
Funny enough, Lakitu got DRS from the lapped car, I think.
Did he?
Oh no. No, he didn't. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he says he's got DRS available, but he didn't activate it. That's strange.
Oh my goodness, we just missed Striker Gamer against Cliffy.
Oh, Striker Gamer's got to move done on the outside of turn 1 as well, but Cliffy's going to try and come back into turn 3. There was contact.
Contact and Cliffy! Oh, everything was going so well. It was going so well for him.
That's the end of Cliffy's race as well. I don't think he's happy with that. But Striker Gamer got the move done around the outside of turn 1, and then there was slight contact, I think, into turn 3. It wasn't much, but it was enough to unsettle Cliffy's car and send him into the wall at turn 3. It's unfortunate that for Cliffy. He wasn't doing too badly. He was considering he was switching to a pad for this race. Pad isn't that bad, Cliffy. It's just you're not used to it because, of course, you're used to your wheel, aren't you? Adjusting from wheel to pad is strange, I bet.
Yep, I can say that myself. From wheel to pad,
I wouldn't know.
shoot me. That's literally what it's like. Like it's so hard to get used to it.
I don't know yet. When I get my wheel, I'm sure I'll find out at some point if it decides to break on me.
Trust me. Pad to wheel is alright, but wheel to pad, that's when you just like, nah, I give up.
I can imagine it's a completely different world driving on a wheel than it is on a pad.
It is. But now Adams has actually fallen behind a bit.
Adams has
he
happened
did make a
to
mistake.
fuel save though. If you look at his fuel, he's already half a lap under the limit on fuel, so he's having to save fuel. Lakitu currently 2.2 of a lap over. So Adams, I think, has been pushing too hard, and he's now got to save fuel for the final 5 laps of the race. So could that be his charge for the race win over? Cliffy, don't worry, I'll be getting a pad in about a week or 2.
A pad, you meant a wheel?
A wheel, yeah, I meant a wheel. I'll be getting a wheel and switching from my pad. I read the word pad on the fucking message above, which confused the shit out of me. Not decided yet, Warlock. I'll see what's available when I get paid at the end of this week. Kanik as well is on the back of Zal. I've just noticed he's catching up. 1.3 seconds the gap between the two of them for 4th place.
And it looks like that Lakitu is most likely to win this race unless there's penalties that I'm not aware of now.
I haven't seen Lakitu pick up any penalties. I think the only other penalties I've seen have been from Striker Game, and I think Louis has one.
Bzalin has a penalty actually, so that will come in
I haven't seen
crucial.
that one.
So in all fairness, Kalik
Kalik
doesn't
has
need to overtake. Kalik doesn't need to overtake Bzalin. He just needs to stay within 3 seconds, and that's his job done.
He may not know that though, that's going to be the thing, as Atkow has now picked up a penalty. I think that's his first of the race. And again, it's in the corner that everybody seems to be picking up warnings in. Quite brutal on track limits, that fast left right.
And who would you say has better tyre wear looking at the tyres for Lakitu and Adams?
I'm not sure. They look about the same on their wear.
I would say Lakitu is just a few percent better on the tyre wear, in my opinion.
Maybe. It doesn't look like there's much of a difference, but both their front lefts look
Yeah, I
like
would
they're
say
getting
like
quite badly
you.
worn.
If you look at the line down the middle of the tires, you can see that Adams has just a bit more just a bit more wear, just say that.
I suppose I can agree with you on that. It doesn't look like there's much of a difference, but Lakitu's tyre is probably slightly better than Odom's, but Odom's has been pushing to try and catch up to Lakitu for the entirety of this stint. Of course, at times he's had the dirty air as well, which hasn't helped him.
So yeah, looks like that Lakitu has this race most likely in the bag. Most likely.
And of course, it's never over until the checker flag is waved and everybody crosses the finish line,
Absolutely.
or until the proverbial fat lady sings.
What?
You've not heard that phrase? It's not over until the fat lady sings.
Oh, right, yeah.
Odom is losing time on Lakitu, so Lakitu just needs to drive his own race really now. Not make any mistakes, then I reckon the race win is in the bag for him. Got fortunate not to get held up in that lap 1 incident.
Unless commentators scores, wink wink.
Please no, I've had enough of those.
It would be epic.
I have too many of those in my commentary time.
And actually,
it always seems to happen.
talking of commentator scores, Kalik Kalik is behind Zalen within a second now, so he'll have DRS.
He will indeed. As they're coming out the final corner. I don't know what kind of wings they're running in comparison to each other, but Zalen won't make it easy for Kalik to try and make a move with only 2 laps to go in the race. We start at 32 or 33. 6/10 of a second is the gap, so Kalik Rist, I don't know whether Kalik Rist knows Zalen has a penalty or not. He might do, he might not, depends whether they're in a party together.
If they are, then he'll know that Zalen has a penalty, but I think he'll want to overtake him just for the glory, you know. Like, I just have that weird feeling.
Yeah, he'll want to try and get proof that he's got what it takes to compete with the likes of Zalen by overtaking them. We know that Zalen can be quick on his day. Lacks a lot of consistency on this game compared to F1 2016, but he can be quick. And he's running in a strong P4, but Kalik Rist behind him will want to prove that he can compete in this league, in this tier, by making a move on Zalen.
Less than half a second.
As the leaders start their final lap of the race, Lakitu and Odoms. But we're going to have to stay with this battle for P4 between Zalen and Kalik. Bad exit out of the final chicane though from Kalik Rist. That's going to lose him a load of time. It did, it lost him 3/10. Could that be his push for taking P4 on track over? But of course Zalen has that penalty. I reckon there's a couple of contenders for driver of the day in this field, especially Lakitu and Mercedes. Mercedes has quietly gone about his job. Started 8th on the grid and has managed to get himself up to a podium position and hold it there. Not really been a threat to the leading 2, but the fact that he's just raced his own race and kept himself to himself has been very impressive. Same with Lakitu, the way he took the lead from Odoms and then just held on to it for the rest of this race as he comes through the final chicane, out of the final corner, and will come across to win the Spanish Grand Prix in ERL F1 ahead of TS Odoms, who finishes 2nd and bins it in the wall across the line. And then ZR Mercedes, who started in 8th in the Renault, will cross the line to finish in 3rd and round up the podium.
But the battle for P4 is still going on, but Zalen will finish in P4 but will get him over to P5 due to his penalty.
Oh, getting very
wow.
slow around and crashed across the finish line. I knew that was going to happen the moment I saw Zalen get out of shape. And Louis crosses the line in 6th, which considering his lap 1 incident is very good for him. Finished above Atkal, who is going to be the last of the classified finishers that didn't leave the session. Striker Gamer going to cross the line in 7th. A little bit of contact with Cliffy, I think, when those two were battling for position, but I don't think there was anything dirty. It was just a racing incident. So Striker Gamer finishes 7th, and Atkal gets a penalty as he finishes the lap to cross the line in position 8.
And runs out of fuel as well.
And hits a car that's stationary on the track as well.
Look, he didn't.
Did on my screen. That was weird.
So, what we were talking about at the start of the race, Toros overtaking Red Bull, it did happen. It did happen.
Yeah, it did. Of course, no Mike for Red Bull to represent Red Bull, so it was Odoms doing the job on his own. And it was after the first lap incident, it was pretty much a 2-horse race between those two, Lakitu and Odoms, for the race win. Lakitu came out on top, held his composure well, and has won the race as a result. Zaren, of course, Lakitu's teammate, finishing down in P5. He did cross the line in 4th, but due to one penalty, Kalik gets 4th place above him.
So yeah, there we go. That's gonna be it. So yeah, there we go. That was a pretty interesting Spanish Grand Prix, I would say. Wouldn't you agree so?
I would, yeah, especially with the. There was just drama all through the race, really. There was that crash at the start, and there was the battles for P1 and P3 in the first stint. Then there was Odom's catching up with Akita at the end of the race. There was Cliffy's contact with Striker Gamer. There was always something going on. Even if there were gaps between cars, there was still something worth commentating on. So it was quite interesting. Good results as well for some of the drivers, and mixes things up in the table.
Yeah, things will definitely change, but I guess we'll have to round off here for today. So in the commentary box we had Stim.
Oh yes, we had you, of course.
And Johnny.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
Thanks Junior for joining me today, and that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a good day, and goodbye.
Goodbye.